All right, so the first thing that we want to do if we're planning a real world flight is to see what's been out there already. I like the Simbit World Random Flight Generator program. I think it's pretty cool. So we're going to do a flight today, as I said, from Memphis, so which is Kilo Mike, Echo Mike. Our arrival airport's going to be Papa Alpha November Charlie, Anchorage. Our airline ICAO identifier is going to be FedEx, so that's FDX for Federal Express. And our aircraft type, we've got to put in the ICAO type number, so that's a B77L. That's also the freighter model. So we can change also some things here, minimum and max duration of the flight, minimum max distance if you like. We can also generate between 1, 5, or 10 flights. So let's generate 5 flights and let's hit go and see what we get. So it looks like we've got a number of flights that depart kind of around this time. So we're going to do let's do FedEx 17. FDX 17, that's this flight here. It looks like that was, and here's the current weather ATIS in Memphis and so on, and in Anchorage. You could generate this directly from SimBrief. I found that it doesn't necessarily grab the right airframe, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go to that next. So let's go to SimBrief. So I've done a bunch of these flights before, but the first thing I really want to show you is your airframe. What I've done is I've copied the tail number, November 878 Foxtrot Delta, that Boeing 777 freighter. What I've done is, in order to make things match up with FlightFactor, there's a couple things you need to do. You know that in FlightFactor on the freighter, for example, it can only take as many as 4 extra passengers. So I put that in here. That's the maximum number of passengers we can take. These two values, they have to add up to 110 kilos. If, however, you're using the freighter, it seems to not take this entire value. It seems to take just the passenger weight, since I guess freighters assume you're not bringing a bunch of bags with you. But the other thing you need to do is make sure that this empty weight matches the empty weight, operating empty weight of the FlightFactor 777, and that is 145,454 kilos. Max fuel weights and all those others should be the same. The other thing I did is this is the real Mode S codes for this aircraft. This is the real CellCal code for this tail number, and this is the real fin number, and so on. So everything else is roughly ready to go, so that's the airframe that I'm using. So let's go ahead and do a brand new flight. So we are going to pick that airframe. And as we said in SimBit, we're going to be FedEx 17 today. So let's be FedEx and let's hit 17. And we're going to depart from Memphis. We're going to head over to Anchorage. We're going to let SimBrief pick our alternate. We're going to have a departure time that's coming up soon, so we'll leave that as it is. We've got our aircraft type, our airframe, our cost index. We could leave it to auto. I'm going to leave the cost index a little bit lower because I found that things with cost indexes or indices that are too high tend to make a very fast cruise, which is unrealistic. I'm not going to change the fuel factor. We are ATC call sign FedEx 17, our reg number, and so on. What we can do, though, is we can look at that flight that that left, and if we go into SimWorld and we look at the and do generate a SimBrief OFP, we can see what flight route that took. So that took the JT5 through ODate, MCI O'Neill, and so on, and then the Joe arrival using the Peters 3. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's generate that flight. And that's going to use, and that's the problem, is we want to use this routing. So we're going to copy that. And I'm going to put it back on the airframe that I actually have modified. And so it looks like it's in there. It's already set. We're going to have automatic freight, see what it generates for us, and also generates zero fuel weight for us. And here we go. So let's generate that flight plan. And there we go. So we are FedEx 17. Looks like it's going to give us an initial altitude of 30,000 feet, a cruise index of 22. Payload and cargo you can see here are block fuel. It looks like because looks like we're going to be heading out toward the west. We're going to do the JT5 departure, and that's going to take us all the way up here, our top of climb, and so on, and then north all the way through. It looks like the arrival is going to be, looks like to the south. So let's see, what does it say here? We're going to be doing the Anchorage 1-5. And that looks like that's going to be this arrival here. So we're going to do the Peters 3 arrival. So we'll get to that in a second. All right. So now that we've got that, let's fire up X-plane and auto ortho first, and fire up X-plane, and we'll take it from there.